and welcome to English for You. I'm Erin.
I'm Winnie.
And we are talking about a special choir today, Winnie.
Choir, I love them.
Have you ever sung in a choir?
No, we have like competition in school.
Okay.
But like every class has to be part of it, but not really like a choir.
Okay, so you haven't joined a choir in a church or outside of school or anything?
Have you?
I was in a church choir when I was young.
Ooh, which part do you sing?
I used to sing soprano, the high one, but now that I'm older, I can't sing soprano anymore. I sing much more low.
But I enjoy like movies about choirs.
Choirs, you know what? Singing in a choir is actually really healthy for you.
Healthy? In what way?
It's good for your mental health. It helps improve your mood, your attitude. It helps you meet people and make friends.
Oh, maybe I should think about joining one.
You know what? I have actually looked into choirs in Taiwan. There are some choirs here. So if you want to start singing with some other people, you can do it.
Yeah.
All right, but we are finished talking about choirs for ourselves. We have a story to get to. Let's find out more about it.
Reading.
Music program gives Indigenous children a voice. It's a warm Saturday evening in San Jose, California, U.S. The audience murmurs as 35 children walk to the front of the Jubilee Christian Church. But as the music begins, they fall silent. Suddenly, the room fills with a familiar melody, Amazing Grace. This time, though, it's being sung in Bunan, an indigenous language from Taiwan's Nantou County, over 10,000 kilometers away. Singing in perfect harmony, the members of the Vox Nativa Music School Choir sound like they've graduated from expensive voice training centers. The reality is completely different, however. Over 80% of the singers come from Bunan communities, which are some of the poorest in Taiwan due to decades of neglect. Buku Tasvaluan, the founder of Vox Nativa, is trying to change this. In 2008, he noticed that despite their hard-working personalities, Bunan children received a poor quality of education. Hoping to offer them a brighter future, he opened Vox Nativa, a special school in Xinyi, Nantou County. There, the students learn important skills through music. The program draws in children from across the region with its fun way of teaching and its focus on indigenous culture. More than a place of study, it reminds Bunan youth that they can feel proud of their heritage.
All right, today's article starts out by setting the scene for us, telling us where we are and what it's like out. It says, it's a warm Saturday evening in San Jose, California, U.S.
So now we've set the scene. It's a warm Saturday 在加州的圣荷西. And the article says the audience murmurs as 35 children walk to the front of the Jubilee Christian Church.
That's right. All right, let's find out what people are doing when they're murmuring here. It said everybody was murmuring. It said, so when people murmur, they talk softly and quietly, and it's difficult to understand what they're saying. We are not murmuring right now,
we
Winnie.
can't.
People have to hear us.
Murmur 发出来音有点就很像你喃喃自语 murmur 这样的声音，就是你在 murmur 什么，就是喃喃自语。有时候可能是故意的 ，she murmured something to herself so that others wouldn't hear it。或者像课文在表演开始前，观众总是会这种低声耳语，也是用这个字。
I don't know if you guys know this, but in the Peanuts cartoons, you know, with Snoopy and Linus and all those guys, when the teacher talks, you can't hear the teacher saying words. It's always just murmuring. It's just
That's murmuring.
All right, let's continue on in the article. It says, but as the music begins, they fall silent.
They fall silent， 因为音乐要开始了嘛，所以大家就开始陷入寂静 because they want to listen to the music.
That's right. And here's what happens. It says, suddenly, the room fills with a familiar melody, Amazing Grace.
奇异恩典 Amazing Grace 这个乍听之下对台湾人来说可能没有这么 familiar. We know that everybody knows Amazing Grace in the US. 但是如果你常看电影的话，美国这个重要场合前有些是唱国歌啊，其他几乎都是会听到这首奇异恩典。So is that also common in Canada too?
Very much.
Can you sing some for us?
Amazing grace,
That's
how
it.
sweet the sound. I'm not going to sing the rest of it because that makes me uncomfortable. All right, let's continue on in the article. It says, this time though, it's being sung in Bunan.
Yes.
Okay. An indigenous language from Taiwan's Nantou County, over 10,000 kilometers away. Let me just try to say that again. Bunan.
Right.
Okay. All right, in that sentence, we said that the singers were not singing in English, but in an indigenous language. Now, indigenous is an adjective, and it describes people or things that have always been in the place they're located. That means they haven't been brought or taken there by other people. Here's an example sentence. Jacob has been studying Australia's indigenous people for several years. He's interested in their culture.
Indigenous 跟另外一个我们学过的 native 是同义字，就是原住民的原住民族群。我们可以看到例句用 indigenous people， 或者我们也可以说 indigenous cultures， 指原住民的文化。比方我们说台湾 there are a wide variety of indigenous cultures in Taiwan. And here we're specifically talking about 布农族或是布农语。It's from Nantou, which is 10,000 kilometers away from the US.
Roughly, yeah. All right, so let's find out what we mean by kilometer here. We said that San Jose is about 10,000 kilometers away from Taiwan, and this is just a unit of measurement that's equal to 1,000 meters. So 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters, and there's about 10,000 kilometers in between Taiwan and the US. Now, we often use kilometers to talk about long distances, and you'll see km while you're driving in Taiwan to show how far away a place is. Here's an example. It's only 5 kilometers until the next gas station. We can take a break from driving when we get there.
Meter 是公尺，这里我们看到前面加上 kilo K-I-L-O 表示千倍，所以 kilometer 就是中文的公里。那刚刚有提到这个缩写就是 km. So here we are in California, but we're listening to a famous English song sung in Taiwanese indigenous language and by Taiwanese indigenous children.
That's right. It says here, singing in perfect harmony, the members of the Vox Nativa Music School Choir sound like they've graduated from expensive voice training centers.
这里我们看到最基本的分词构句，我们先来还原这一句哦，也就是 When the members of the Vox Nativa Music School Choir sing in perfect harmony, they 一样也是就是指 the members of the Vox Nativa Music School Choir sound like they've graduated from expensive voice training center， 是不是又臭又长？所以当这个主词相同的时候呢，副词子句我们就可以简化成分词片语，让句子看起来更简洁。那要注意哦，分词构句的重点就是副词子句中的动词要依主被动改成现在分词 VING 或过去分词 PP。我们来看个例句 Because the city was hit by the greatest typhoon in years, it was seriously damaged. 看到主词相同，我们就先砍掉子句中的主词，而且 because 这个子句呢，因为被动 was hit by the typhoon， 我们用过去分词来简化，就变成 hit by the greatest typhoon in years, the city was seriously damaged. 同样这句呢，我们看到 singing in harmony 这里是和声的意思，常用 in harmony 这样的搭配，或者是看到课文用 in perfect harmony 表示完美的和声。那如果三部和声，我们也可以用复数 three-part harmonies.
I love a good harmony, Winnie.
Yeah, you used to be in choir. You should know so much about that.
Well, I used to sing in harmonies. That was fun to do, but it's been a long time now. Let's move on. Let's talk about the noun choir too. We've mentioned that word quite a bit now. We should talk about what it is.
Choir 在我们今天课程一路谈到现在，你猜到意思了吗？就是合唱团的意思。所以这个全名就是台湾原声童声合唱团。
All right. So, we've heard about these angelic voices singing this song and in their native indigenous language. And it says here, the reality is completely different, however. They didn't go to expensive voice training centers. We said the reality is very different. So what we're saying here is that they didn't go to those voice training schools.
But they're so good.
Exactly. It says here, over 80% of the singers come from Bunan communities, which are some of the poorest in Taiwan due to decades of neglect. All right, so we said they are some of the poorest due to decades of neglect. Now, due to is another way of saying because of something. So we could say it like this. Because the communities have been neglected for so long, they are some of Taiwan's poorest communities. Here's another example. Due to the bad weather, we had to cancel our picnic. Or we had to cancel our picnic because of the bad weather.
Due to 大家应该都不陌生，这是一个介系词片语，记得后面呢要接这个名词或是 V-I-N-G。我们整理一下，同义呢刚刚有提到可以用 because of。Owing to 或者是 as a result of the bad weather, we had to cancel our picnic. So we're talking about these 布农 communities, 这些布农的社区团体. They are poor because of decades of neglect.
That's right. So first we're going to talk about what a decade is. A decade is a period of 10 years in a row, not 10 years all over the place. In a row.
Okay.
So when we add S to it to make it plural, we're saying many periods of 10 years. So 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. We could say 40 years is 4 decades. Here's an example. Janelle has lived in Canada for a decade. She's only been back to Taiwan twice in those 10 years.
Decade 就是10年，所以我们刚刚说2个10年就是 2 decades， 或者4个10年你也知道就是 4 decades， 或者我们要说几十年，像文章这样，我们可以直接用复数，比方 The economy of this town has been slow for decades.
Okay, so we've mentioned the word neglect a couple of times as well, and we said decades of neglect. So what does that mean?
Neglect 在句子呢是当名词指这个忽视、忽略。常见的用法就是时间加上 of neglect， 就是表示长时间的忽视。比方我们可能会说 years, decades， 甚至是 centuries 等等的 of neglect， 就是甚至是几世纪以来的忽视。那我们终于把全句拼凑起来啦。People don't pay attention to this area, making it one of the poorest parts of the country.
That's right, but some people do pay attention to this area, and we're going to find out about a person who does. It says here, Bukut Tasvaluan, the founder of Vox Nativa, is trying to change this. All right, let's find out what we described him as. We called him a founder. Now, a founder is a person who founds or sets up or starts a company or organization. Now, if you start a business, you are a founder. For example, we could say, Steve Jobs, one of the founders of Apple Inc., died in 2011.
Probably the famous founders
Yes.
in history. 我们把 founder 这个字尾的 er 遮起来，我们就会看到动词 found。这不是 find 的过去式哦，帮大家再复习一下，是 found, founded, founded 这个规则变化的三态，意思是建立。我们再把 er 加回去，就是创建者、创办人的意思。所以例句提到这个最有名的创办人就是贾伯斯，是苹果的创办人之一。
That's right. Okay, so let's find out what he did. It says, in 2008, he noticed that despite their hard-working personalities, Bunan children received a poor quality of education. All right, so we said that the Bunan children have hard-working personalities. Now, a person's personality is their character or the way they act and behave. It's what makes them a person. Now, we often use adjectives to describe a person's personality. For instance, if a person has a kind personality, they are very nice to other people. However, if someone has a mean personality, they are not nice to other people. Here's another example. Kyle has a shy personality, so it takes a while to get to know him.
说一个人的个性怎么样，我们在 personality 的前面可以用不同的形容词来修饰。那像最近电影跟电视剧很流行的议题分裂人格，就是用这个字，就是 split personality。那回到课文呢 notice 后面的名词子句，我们用 despite 这个介系词做转折，后面加上名词或是 VING 片语，等同于 although the children were hardworking, they received poor education. That's why he founded the choir school.
That's right. He saw that these children were working really hard, but they weren't really getting any education. They weren't learning like students in other areas of Taiwan, right? So that's why he opened Vox-Nativa. It says here, hoping to offer them a brighter future, he opened Vox-Nativa, a special school in Xinyi, Nantou County.
这个我们又在看到前面介绍的分词构句 because he hoped to offer them a brighter future. 因为主词相同，加上主动的语态，所以我们就简化成现在分词 hoping to offer them a brighter future. 所以在南投信义乡开设了这所特别的学校 and the article says, there the students learn important skills through music.
That's right. Okay, so not just learning music, but learning how to do other things through music. It says here a little bit more about the program. It says the program draws in children from across the region with its fun way of teaching and its focus on indigenous culture. Now, what this program is doing is drawing people in. This phrase, we use it when something like a program or an activity or a game kind of gets them involved, makes them do things, gets them active in this activity. Now, a program that draws people in has lots of things for people to do and keeps them very busy. Here's another example. This English cram school draws students in with its promise of fun classes.
Not promise to get into schools.
Yeah.
Draw 在这里不是画画哦 ，draw 当动词还有吸引的意思，所以动词片语 draw in 就是把人拉进来，就衍生出使人参与、加入某项活动的意思。那透过 Vox-Nativa 这有趣的教学，而且还着重在原住民文化，吸引了这区域很多的孩子加入。
Okay, well, of course, it's not just a school. Here it says, more than a place of study, it reminds Bunan youth that they can feel proud of their heritage. And that is a really important thing.
Yes.
It reminds them of something. Now, when one thing reminds you of something, it makes you think of something you must or should do. Now, there can be a couple of ways to think of this. Here's one example. Can you remind me to call my mom? Now here, a person wants someone else to make them remember to do a certain thing. However, in our article, we're saying that the school reminds people that they should think a certain way about their life. It's less of a, I need you to do this thing so I remember, and more of a, you should remember to think a certain way. Here's an example. Could you remind me to buy milk after work? Or I could say, I say kind words to myself every day to remind myself that I'm a good person.
You are a good person.
Thank you.
Remind 这个字用法很特别哦，课文用到 remind somebody that， 提醒某人后面加 that 子句，提醒布农的年轻一辈，他们可以对自己的传统文化遗产 heritage 感到骄傲。那 remind 也可以直接加不定词 to v， 像例句看到 remind me to buy milk， 提醒我买牛奶。还有一种 remind 的用法，只是使人回想起某件事，后面呢常搭配过去的事物，这时候我们会在后面加上 of something， 比方 This song reminds me of our first date 这首歌让我想起了我们第一次的约会，所以三种句型用法不太一样，要特别注意哦。
All right, well, we've learned a lot about this school today. We have a lot more to learn, though.
Yay.
We'll be back here tomorrow to talk about it. But for now, let's finish off with our For You chat.
You Chat.
All right, welcome back to For You Chat. What's our question today, Winnie?
So today's For You Chat. If you could open your own school, what would you teach people? And how would it be different from other schools?
Well, I have lots of ideas.
I know you've been a teacher,
for
right?
schools. Well, yeah, I've been a teacher for a few years. I'm not a teacher anymore, but I have other ideas for schools.
What do you want to teach?
I could teach people how to bake.
Ooh,
how
that's
to make
good.
delicious cookies or pies
You're
or
good
cakes.
at that too.
I could teach people how to clean up their house and stay organized.
Ooh, that's very important because we have like small houses
Small
now.
houses,
and
how
you
to-
want to put things,
Right.
organize them.
But you want to make it look nice and look neat. Now, I can say that I like the way that I've done that in my own house, so maybe I could teach it to other people.
Yeah, I like how you decorate your office.
Oh, thank you. I'm not sure how it would be different from other schools yet, though. I'm still working on these ideas. What about
You're gonna be fine. I think I want to teach people to find their hobbies.
Oh,
That's very hard.
interesting.
Yeah, because I think we're all so crammed with school, with homework, with work. We don't have time to really,
Explore.
find our hobbies. So if you
Interesting.
want to learn gardening, we have we have tools, we have teachers to teach you what to do.
So it would be like a hobby school.
I hope so.
Interesting idea. All right, well, what about you guys? What are you guys good at and think you could teach other people? You guys talk about this. We're going to go work on Winnie's hobby school idea.
Yay.
And we'll be back here tomorrow.
Music program gives Indigenous children a voice. It's a warm Saturday evening in San Jose, California, U.S. The audience murmurs as 35 children walk to the front of the Jubilee Christian Church. But as the music begins, they fall silent. Suddenly, the room fills with a familiar melody, Amazing Grace. This time, though, it's being sung in Bunang, an indigenous language from Taiwan's Nantou County, over 10,000 kilometers away. Singing in perfect harmony, the members of the Vox Nativa Music School Choir sound like they've graduated from expensive voice training centers. The reality is completely different, however. Over 80% of the singers come from Bunang communities, which are some of the poorest in Taiwan due to decades of neglect. Buku Tasvaluan, the founder of Vox Nativa, is trying to change this. In 2008, he noticed that despite their hard-working personalities, Bunan children received a poor quality of education. Hoping to offer them a brighter future, he opened Vox Nativa, a special school in Xinyi, Nantou County. There, the students learn important skills through music. The program draws in children from across the region with its fun way of teaching and its focus on indigenous culture. More than a place of study, it reminds Bunan youth that they can feel proud of their heritage.
Vocabulary Review.
Indigenous. Most countries have indigenous animals and plants, which are only found in those places. Kilometer. I love where I live. Everything I need is less than a kilometer from my front door. Decade. It's hard to know where I'll be in a decade. After all, 10 years is a long time. Founder. Mr. Smith was the founder of this company. He started it in 1885 with his own money. Personality. You'll find that people are more willing to spend time with you if you have a good personality. Remind. Let me remind you again. Your homework is due on Thursday and your project on Monday.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net